Hello everyone, and welcome to my corner of the internet. So today I'm going to be doing some alignment charts that I got off of Pinterest. If you haven't spent that much time on Pinterest, you might be wondering, what is an alignment chart? So basically, with an alignment chart, you sort some characters, either from a piece of media you like, or your own original characters, or even real people, into the different boxes on the chart. Most charts have both rows and columns, but some of them are in different formats. I've been seeing these on Pinterest for years, and they always look pretty fun, but I've only ever done one of them. I also made a video about that, which I will link down below, but it's really old and embarrassing. So after around a year and a half, I decided that it was finally time to try again. I did a brief bit of research on the origins of alignment charts, and apparently they were first used for Dungeons & Dragons, and they originally used the 9-box lawful, neutral, chaotic, and good, neutral, evil format. If you go on Pinterest, though, you can find what seems to be an unlimited number of other formats, and some of them can get extremely specific, such as this one that describes how various individuals respond to seeing a bug, I guess. There's also this one which splits up the famous opening line of A Tale of Two Cities. I wouldn't even know where to start with this one, but I still fully approve of it. I love A Tale of Two Cities. But instead of starting out with one of these hyper-specific ones, I thought I'd start with the classic 9-box version. Now, this chart is so general that it can be applied to any situation, but that also means that there's a lot of room for interpretation. I also feel like I have multiple characters that could fit into each category, and some characters could fit into more than one, but I've done my best. I don't even totally know what the criteria for each row and column are, but I'm operating off of the premise that good means someone who is motivated to help others, neutral is someone who is motivated to help themselves, and evil is someone who hurts others. Realistically, I think that almost everyone fits into the neutral category, but then they'll lean more towards one side or the other. But anyway, in the good row, we have TJ as lawful good, so he's just the ultimate rule follower. Nefertari is neutral good. Even though she's very much in the good category, she's much less concerned about rules and is more likely to do what feels right to her. I put Zephy in chaotic good, but I kind of feel like she leans more towards neutral. Most of my characters, just like most people, are in neutral, like I said. Samat is definitely lawful neutral. I wasn't really sure where to put her. I knew she had to be in lawful, but she's not particularly motivated to help or hurt others. She kind of just goes along with life, so I put her in neutral. 10 is true neutral because he's motivated almost purely to further his own interests and goals. Everyone else is just tagging along for the ride, in his opinion. Kurti is chaotic neutral. He's also kind of self-centered and also very spontaneous. I don't really have too many characters that are just straight up psychopaths, and I feel like evil is kind of a strong word, but I do have a couple characters who are willing to hurt other people. 2 characters from the fantasy story I'm working on are here, the antagonist and the protagonist, Anya. I wouldn't go so far as to call either of these characters evil, since Anya tries to justify what she does, and the antagonist, whose name I'm still deciding on, thinks that what he does is justified because it helps the greater good, at least as he sees it. In my opinion, the easiest way you can make a character seem super evil is to never show their side of the story. If your audience only sees the character doing things that are detrimental to the protagonist or the characters that they already sympathize with, they'll assume that the character is evil, and they probably won't stop to think if there's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. And even better, if you avoid giving that character a name or any traits that kind of humanize them and make them seem like a living being with a soul, they'll seem extra evil, because again, the audience won't be able to sympathize with them. So the only truly evil characters on here are the llamas, or the llama collective, because, they don't have names. The llamas actually do have a side to their story, it just never really comes up in SS Rogerium. The next alignment chart that caught my attention was this one, the corn maze chart, describing how characters would approach a corn maze. I immediately thought of my SS Rogerium characters. They encounter maze-like situations on several occasions in their story, so some of these are things that they've actually done. Zephy, for example, has actually tried to find her way out of a maze, or a maze-like situation, based on gut feelings. 10, of course, being the logical one, would be looking at clues and trying to think his way out of the maze. Just wandering around and hoping to find the exit is definitely a Roger thing. When he's introduced in the story, that's essentially what he's doing, wandering around and not totally sure where he is. Taking only left turns would probably be Kale's route, since he wouldn't actually have any idea what he was doing, but would probably feel the need to follow some kind of pattern. The second to last one has no clue where they are, but tries their best, and that would definitely be the Appletons. I don't know why best is trademarked here, but I don't understand half the things I see on the internet, so I'm just going to ignore it. And Norman would cheat and just go around the whole maze. He's definitely the chaotic neutral of this cast of characters if we're going off of the classic D&D chart. The final meme that I decided to do was this handwriting chart. And of course, I immediately thought of this, a box that's at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, because it's been written on in Egyptian, but as you can see, whoever wrote it was not really going for neatness. I kind of laughed when I first saw this because, this just proves that even if you can only draw stick figures, your scribbles can still end up in a museum. I decided that I needed to try recreating different handwriting styles in Egyptian in honor of this wonderful work of art. So, of course, the first thing I needed to get out of the way before I even started thinking about this meme was the question of which of my characters would even be literate. It's pretty widely accepted that literacy rates in ancient Egypt were pretty low, since, most people were farmers and they didn't really need to read and write. Also, the language is really complicated, which I can attest to. For the most part, only scribes and people in government positions really needed those skills, and even though ancient Egypt was big on gender equality, those were usually men. However, I've also heard it suggested that upper-class women who had a household to run probably needed to have some kind of literacy, even if they were never, official scribes or anything. So with that in mind, I think it's safe to say that all 4 characters that I'm going to draw here are probably at least semi-literate. By the way, all this information that I just gave is from Caroline Graves Brown's Dancing for Hathor Women in Ancient Egypt, which I will link down below just so everyone knows I'm not making it up. Then, of course, there's also the issue that even if they can write in their language, their handwriting in that written language doesn't necessarily correspond to handwriting in the Latin alphabet, which I'm pretty sure is the writing system that this chart is referring to. For that reason, I'm filling this out mostly based on their personalities. Still, I feel like I can kind of imagine what Egyptian would look like written this way, so watch me struggle as I try to copy that. For incredibly neat and perfect, well, that just had to be Samat. One thing I've noticed with my own handwriting is that the more anxious I feel, the neater it gets. Usually, especially when I'm procrastinating. And Samat is basically the personification of my anxiety, so that works for her. Nefertari would, of course, have loopy, pretty cursive. Now you might be saying, but how do you make hieroglyphs loopy and pretty? The answer is you can't really, but luckily there is a cursive version of Egyptian called hieratic writing. Now, I don't have much experience with this writing system, but I did some research and I did my best. I kind of had to guess a couple of the characters, but this is the general idea. I also learned that hieratics got extra loopy and cursive-y during that Hyksos period, which is just about when my story is set. I like it. It looks a lot like Arabic, which I think is pretty cool. Qwerty has handwriting that is completely illegible, and yes, this writing is completely illegible, as you can't even tell what characters some of these are supposed to be. Merez, formerly Moswin, yes, I've changed some things, would have rush but legible handwriting because I doubt she'd want to sit still for long enough to actually make everything look perfect, but she cares about it more than Qwerty does. Anyway, that concludes my Pinterest searching for the week. I know that I had a lot of fun doing these alignment charts, and I hope that you enjoyed watching me do them. If you have any ideas of other memes, alignment charts, or drawing challenges that you'd like to see me do, please feel free to let me know in the comment section and I will check them out. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.